Hey everyone, and welcome to Elsewhere in the Multiverse, the comic book podcast from Mail Fuzz TV.
1 week off and that's it.
I almost said DC Comics podcast because I'm so used to saying that for the other show.
Uh,
But yeah, so that's a comic podcast. We were off last week because Connor was on vacation. He fled, and because of that, we have an absurd number of comics to talk about this week.
That's why this is a day later than usual, because
yes.
there was a lot.
Which is weird because there was obviously new comics. At the time of recording, this is a Wednesday night. Usually we record on Tuesday night, but it's Wednesday night, meaning that there was new books released today, which we're not talking about. We're talking about books that are from the last two Wednesdays. So
yeah,
this feels old as shit by now, but we have a lot of books to talk about. There was one or two we pushed for later weeks. There was an Alien issue out this past week. You know what? I'll talk about it next week. I'll read it next week because I read like 15 books.
So, yeah, I got a couple of books of the same thing. It's like, do you know what? I'll just get to them later.
Yes. So coming up on this week's show, brace yourselves. Amazing Spider-Man issue 16, Uncanny X-Men 12, Avengers 15, Captain America 8, Daredevil 2, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issue 3, Fantastic Four 7, Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 3, West Coast Avengers 8, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Venom 11, Avengers No Road Home issue 2, Avengers No Road Home issue 3, Black Hammer Age of Doom issue 8, and technically, like 3 other issues of Black Hammer, which we also caught up on for this.
Yep.
Is Buffy the Vampire Slayer number 2, and Firefly issue 4. That is the gauntlet.
I am mildly annoyed that you ordered them that way instead of splitting them up into the different weeks.
Never even crossed my mind.
We could have worked through 1 week and then on to the next week. Yeah.
Never crossed my mind. This is how it is.
It's unacceptable.
It's not. I'm not going back to check which was which week now because I have no idea
what. I noticed when you read that list, then there's at least one book there that we were going to read that clearly we both decided, nope, no time for that one.
Hey, I wanted to read that Captain Marvel one shot by Hauser. I like Jodie Hauser, but 15 books, or maybe more on the hunt. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I read Venom. 11, 12, 13, 14. No, okay, I read 14. There's 15 on the show. I read 14.
Okay.
Oh no, wait, no, it is 15 because it was 2 on No Road Home. I've got that in one slot. I did read 15.
Did you count all the other Black Hammer issues as well?
Oh, 16, 17, 18.
18. Yeah, there we go. 18.
18 books I read. And you're
you
the
could
same.
have been sensible and spread those out over 2 weeks reading, but you didn't.
Well, I did some. I read some of them last week, but
yeah, me too.
There was a couple I hadn't, and then I was like, "Oh shit! This is Black Hammer week." Damn it!
But also, we need to still get this done in a reasonable time. Yes. So
there had to be a cut-off.
Yeah.
If we'd waited and read any more, it'd be like, okay, we can't record tonight anymore. We're going to have to push it again, which would be maddening for several reasons. So a couple of quick bits of news, and then we'll get straight into the books. So first up, news-wise, let me just jump over to my Chrome tab here for all my things. So let's just get this stupid one out of the way. Disney's not shutting down Marvel Comics. We can move on. we can move on. Like, that's all we have to say.
There's one stupid website that's to blame for this.
No, it's not.
And oh no, they started it.
No, there's 2 websites to blame for this.
Okay.
And it wasn't them that started it.
Oh, was it not?
You're incorrect on this. Yeah, Comic Book News was the website that started this.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then it was backed up by another website that is notorious for rumours.
For chatting shit.
Yes. But Joe Quesada himself said this is nonsense. Stop.
He just laughed it off.
Yes.
So what are you on about?
Yes. So leave it there. I don't want, like, we got a big show. So
yeah.
That's why I leave it there. Speaking of Marvel though, it's not confirmed 100%, but Jason Aaron put out a post heavily implying that War of the Realms is the end of his Thor run. And given that he started writing that Thor run in 2012, I mean, it's been 7 years.
Yeah, it makes sense. This feels like a culmination. This is tying in elements that go back to his, God of Thunder run, the original stuff in the first couple of years of his run. So it's not surprising. Definitely the end of an era, though, because this is it feels weird in today's age when you get someone defining a character for so long now. It kind of doesn't happen as much anymore.
Tell that to Dan Slott.
Yeah. No, like I said, there are exceptions. You know, there's a handful where it's like, okay, no, they had significantly lengthy runs, and you know, Aaron on Thor is one of those where it's like, yeah, okay, that's a complete section of that history.
Yeah, that'll be 2 or 3 omnibus volumes when they get around to doing that. Depending how thick it goes, depending on how much of the tie-ins to War of the Realms, because War of the Realms will be its whole omnibus.
It probably will.
Yeah,
you could do one.
It'll be Jason Aaron Thor Volume 1 and 2, and then War of the Realms.
War of the Realms.
That's what it's going to be.
I'm assuming there'll be a little bit after War of the Realms. It's like an epilogue wrap up,
possibly.
But I think this is the climax of the story.
So other news, getting away from Marvel, we had a couple of Jeff Lemire books announced. We had a miniseries from Dark Horse, 4-issue miniseries called Berserker Unbound, which tells the story of a barbarian warrior who is cast forward in time by a wormhole to the present day and now must protect our world from an evil wizard. I'm getting Beastmaster vibes from this description here. So, first issue's out in August. Artist is going to be Mike Diodale.
Yeah, which is notable because he's been exclusive to Marvel for like a decade, and this is his first non-Marvel work since that contract expired.
He's free. He's out of Marvel prison.
Yeah, so Lemire snapped him up.
And then the other thing Lemire announced is a graphic novel, which he's also doing the art for, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
It's called Frog Catchers. And this, annoyingly, is in the form of an interview, so I'm just looking for a good synopsis-y part of it.
A graphic novel from Lemire about a man who wakes up in a creepy hotel with no knowledge of how he got there.
Okay.
Sounds like a Lemire story.
Sounds not
bad. And Lemire's graphic novel work that he draws is some of my favorite stuff in comics. Underwater Welder, Roughneck, two of just my favorite stories at all. So this immediately is shot to one of my most anticipated books.
I do wish there was another artist on it.
Oh no! Those stories where it's him just doing his thing, like just on an ultra personal level, when he gets into, because that's what those stories are. They're his best work. Those ones I just mentioned, and Royal City, which was actually like an ongoing series, a monthly series. But again, with him doing the art, easily his best work.
Okay, I don't necessarily agree, but okay.
Yeah. Frogcatcher's out September.
Okay. I've not read a few of those, admittedly, but I read Sweet Tooth, which was his own art.
Yeah.
And his own art's fine, but I don't like it as much as some of the other artists that he could be working with. So I'm inherently more interested when he's got other artists, but that's not to say that I won't read it and won't enjoy it. We don't cover graphic novels though, so on the show.
But worth noting that it's happening anyway.
But the miniseries, I'm sure we'll read because it's exactly the sort of thing we would read. So
yeah,
audiobooks though, and again, some of these were read last week. So if it takes a minute to remember what each of these books were as I'm glancing at them, bear with me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like some of these, I mean, there's at least one of these books that I read on release day, which, as we're recording this, was 2 weeks ago now. So, yeah.
Alright, well, we'll start off then with Amazing Spider-Man issue 16, which is Nick Spencer writing, Ryan Ottley and Alberto Alburquerque on the art. Joe, I saw the name Albuquerque, and obviously there's one Albuquerque that comes to mind when I think of comic book art.
And you got mildly excited.
I got mildly excited about, wait, Alberto? His name's not Alberto.
And when I say mildly excited, very excited.
It's Raphael. Who's this Alberto? Who's this imposter?
Yeah, and then it's just a shitty Bacalo knockoff.
I can get that comparison. So this is kind of a weird issue. It's got a 16-page story as the main thing, and then it's got like a backup with other art for just because the first 60 pages is just okay, this is how Craven set this up, and his son's involved and all that stuff, and it's just that side of it. And then the actual final page you always get at the back of the Marvel books comes up, but it says at the end, but you're noticing that there wasn't any Spider-Man in those last 16 pages. Fear not, there's more to come. And then there's another 8 pages of stuff.
19 pages.
19? Was it 19 pages?
Notice how Spidey didn't show up in the previous 19 pages.
Oh, there you go, 19.
Yeah.
So that was an okay issue.
I really like the main story.
I
I thought that was pretty solid.
I think I like some of the sentiments of it. It's got this weird thing though, where I didn't necessarily feel like I got like I feel like I could have went into the event, well, if you want to call it that. You've gone to the hunt, and I think like I could have skipped this issue, and all maybe the Spidey bit at the end, because the Spidey bit at the end actually has some relevant plot details where, as we were kind of predicting, Lizard's kid gets roped into all this, and gets kidnapped, and that's kind of what happens in the backup. But the main story, like, I feel like you could probably skip this, and it probably wouldn't actually hurt your experience.
No, I agree with that. I think though, I just was enjoying having Ottley back on art.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that was better.
I was like, oh, this is nice. I'm enjoying this.
That's better. Cause
and then I got to the back bit and I went, ugh.
Because Craven basically, he's not been happy that, you know, these rich people come in, you know, hunting, but they're, you know, they're not proper hunters. They're coming with guides, and they're taking their selfies with their giraffes and stuff. Obviously, this is very kind of poking at real world shit that we see every now and then, and like, he basically got this plan to, instead of like killing them or whatever else, he's just going to offer them a hunt in their own backyard with all these supervillains who are animal based.
Yep.
So he's sending rich people after them. I'm still secretly thinking that he's going to eventually kill them all, though. Like,
yeah, he's got something up his sleeve.
Like, I think he's like expecting them to take each other out, and it'll be like a win-win. I think that's what he's hoping for. But yeah, no, it's just okay. Like it was a decent enough read. I didn't have a bad time reading it.
Yeah, it's not a standout issue, but I like I said, I think I enjoyed the fact just that we got a nice artist back. The storytelling had a good flow to it, even if it wasn't anything essential. It was enjoyable.
There was something funny about seeing Craven be like more of a PR guy for a little bit and doing speeches.
Yeah, it was nice.
As opposed to his normal, you know, tribal-looking hunter vibe. So I mean, that was what it was, and the backup was basically the Lizard Kid sneaking off to that party that he left for last time, and he gets kicked out and his face spat on basically when she sees what it looks like, and she screams at him, and he ends up getting swiped because Black Hand and Taskmaster see him, because they're actually complaining, oh, if only we could have got Lizard. Hey, our luck's in. There's a mini lizard over
there. That'll do.
Well, that'll do nicely.
Yeah. It was frustrating because this backup is the most essential part of the book.
Yeah.
It's also the least enjoyable bit to read.
Yeah, that's fair.
It feels like, no, this is the bit we actually have to do, so we'll just get it out of the way. Whereas the main story of this, like I say, it's kind of inconsequential in the way it feels, but it was more enjoyable to read.
Yeah. Also, Peter's sick for some reason.
He's got the flu.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing last issue, right?
No, it wasn't. I don't remember that. It's just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, he's very
sick. Which
for
feels weird, given that this is clearly the same night with the lizard kid sneaking out, right?
What's weird to me, though, is that it's implying that it's not just the flu, because he says something like, oh, all the symptoms seem very random. It almost as if he's got something very specific that he doesn't understand.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm expecting there to be a reveal as to what it actually is that he's got, or what's going on here, but
yeah,
you know,
the problem is I thought they could have done a better job of portraying that then, because it does just look like the flu.
Yeah.
Other than him telling us that it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is. But you know, 18 books. So, what are you rating it?
It's a 7.
7. Yeah, I'll 6.5. I'll go 6.5. I did like, it was a fine book, but I did feel it was kind of inconsequential for the most part. But
it was. I'm rating it higher just because I'm getting back. I was back to a nice artist for most of it.
Go 6.5. Which will take us on then to Uncanny X-Men issue 12. Matthew Rosenberg writing with Salvador Larroca on the art. This issue is about Wolverine and Cyclops breaking in to a prison to break out some mutants that they know are locked in there, or Wolverine knows they're locked in there. And probably the highlight of this issue is Wolverine actually comes up with a plan, but it all goes to shit very quickly. So you have some sort of bickering between Wolverine and Cyclops about being a leader and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's them. The whole issue is them breaking out. Magic's in there, Havoc's in there, and then a few characters that I'm not as well versed on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not familiar with a lot of them.
Last week book on.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling to remember this issue. This feels the most forgettable thing. When I'm looking at my comics of like, okay, these are the ones that were from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
This one I'm really struggling to remember.
I mean, I actually read this just with this week's batch, which is why I thought it was this week's.
Okay.
So I had a decent job, and they fight some Sentinels, which turn out to be like Sentinels with mutants inside them that are powering them, and they deal with that. But I will say on the art, obviously we've talked about Larroca's art before. You've talked about Star Wars. I didn't think it was too bad in the last issue. A couple of weird moments aside, there was one like panel in this that made me like second guess who I was looking at because it was so goddamn weird. There's a panel of Wolverine. It's a very thin, wide panel. It's after he pokes a Sentinel with his claw.
So we're in the back end of the book.
It's almost exactly halfway on the digital sort of page count.
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
And he just looks like a different person to almost every other page of the book. Because he's got the sideburns, which is what told me it was Wolverine. But
yeah, it's got this really weird lighting effect, and he looks about 20 years younger.
He does. He looks like he's barely out of high school, even though he's got the sideburns, the mutton chops. Yeah. So I don't know. That one really stuck out to me.
Yeah, like I say, you get this with Larroca a lot. This is still better than any of his Star Wars work, but it's not great.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't like tons of it that was making me go, ugh. I mean, most of it was kind of okay. It was
yeah.
It benefits when there's a lot of shadows and a lot of inks sort of
hide anything that hides the faces.
Yes,
that's what you're saying there.
Yeah. But it works well enough, So yeah, they break out some mutants, and magic jumps them all, and it's all very sad. And there's one guy left dead. Who was it? Who was it that died? The old dude with the beard.
Yeah.
Whose name I cannot fathom for the life of me.
I can't find it. I'm looking at the pages, but I'm not seeing the name anywhere.
Yeah, I'm looking at where he's dying, but obviously his name popped up earlier. So basically it ends with this general coming in and being like, the X-Men are back. To be continued. So, I mean, like again, I thought this was a fine issue. Like I had a decent enough time reading it. It felt the natural next part of the story.
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember thinking when I read this, like, yeah, it was fine. I think the fact that I'm really struggling to remember now, even when I'm reading through it, flicking through it here, I'm kind of going, yeah, okay, I vaguely remember this. Shows that it's extremely forgettable as an issue.
It's not a notable issue, but as the next part, after the way the issue 11 ended with Wolverine and Cyclops kind of like finding each other, this was the natural place to go next.
Yeah.
So it's fine. And I like Magic well enough. So Havoc I don't really have much of an opinion on, and a couple of the others that I'm not as familiar with. We'll see how they shape up, but
yeah, that's cool.
But it was okay. It's fine. Like it's a job enough read. Admittedly, I mean, if this was let's say all these books this week were all this week's books, and there was actually like 4. I mean, not counting the backup issues we read, just like straight 14 books. Yeah, there's probably a couple I'd cut if I had to read this many. But on half of this, though, this is a perfectly fine book. So, what are you rating Uncanny X-Men 12?
I'm gonna give it a 5.5. It's fine, but not doing that much for me.
Yeah, I'll go with a 6. I'll go with a solid 6. It's a enjoyable enough read. I don't have. I mean, some of the art's a bit, especially that one panel of Wolverine.
Yeah.
I don't have too much nasty things to say. Also, the previous week was Avengers issue 15, just an hour in writing, with David Marquez on the art, and this is the Shadow Colonel and his team basically triggered Robbie at the end of the previous issue, and he's now under their control. He's trying to resist, like he's in there, like you hear his narration, and he's in there trying to fight back and regain control, but he's not in control.
It's just not doing anything though, is it?
But he's kind of a flaming Hulk right now, is essentially the best way to describe it. And he drives the team off, and they're going around trying to hunt vampires, and they try and make Robbie kill a bunch of vampire kids, and Robbie's refusing to do it, and the big cliffhanger is that the Avengers finally show up, and it's like, it's like, no, we're going to have a fight.
Have to stop this shit.
But a big bit of the middle of the issue, though, the bulk of the middle of the issue, is actually Tony goes to the Russian prison where Dracula's now been held, because we ended issue 14 with Dracula seeking asylum in Russia. Yep. So Tony goes to speak to him,
have a little chat
to try and get some answers about what's going on, and he ends up in a bit of a fight with the Russian, what's the team called?
One day I'm going to learn their name.
I know the team name. I can't remember, but he fights with them, and they kind of come to understand, because he's trying to tell them, like, hey, like, Dracula wants to be here for some reason. He's never trying to escape, but he's up to something, and they kind of like imply they're going to arrest Tony for kind of breaking the rules, but they kind of let him go as well. It's like, no, like, go now, or we're going to like take you.
We'll have problems, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of this, there's a lot of that. Dracula like talks about his father, talks about Howard Stark and how he met him, and that kind of thing, and just kind of prods that, oh yeah, your father bet like a dog to be special and wanted eternal life and all that kind of thing.
It's a pretty solid issue. I think it's I'm going to compare this to the last issue we just spoke about with Uncanny X-Men. That I read these on the same day, and I think structurally they're both very similar issues in that this is just, okay, the next bit of the story, right? No, neither of them are standout issues. But I can remember this a lot clearer, a lot better. Like all of this, I'm not even needing to refresh myself on. I'm just, okay, I remember all of this.
Yeah.
I think it's just better told.
And the art's pretty solid as well, for the most part.
I agree with that.
We kind of skipped ahead, but I mean, before they ride off at the start, there is a good 4 or 5 pages of action. Before Robbie and the bad guys leave.
Yeah, having a little bit of a tussle. Looks good.
It's pretty solid.
I love that Ghost Rider's huge. At the minute.
Yeah. No, I like how he looks. In fact, every single panel he's in has a great sort of fire effect. It does something for the colouring. It's a nice contrast to everything else, which is a lot of blues and things like that.
Yeah. It looks good.
Yeah. So it's not all the event, because Tony's just left Russia, but Thor, Cap, well, both Caps and Blade show up at the end of the book to fight the what's that team called? There's too many names to remember.
There is.
Damn it.
I don't. This is Shadow Colonel's team, but I don't remember the name of them. Did they have their own name as a team?
I'm sure they did.
I don't actually remember them.
Yeah, maybe they don't have a team name. Maybe I'm just assuming they did, and that's why I'm blanking on it. I don't know. But. Yeah, no, I mean it's.
They're called the Legion.
The Legion.
I went to the previously on page at the start. The Shadow Colonel, the leader of the Legion.
To be fair, it's a very generic name.
That's
my defense on this. Yeah, no, I think the book looks really good. Like I say, the coloring's very good, especially whenever the fire's involved. There's some great panels, especially when the Legion and the Shadow Colonel are walking into that scene at the end. His Fallout 3 looking outfit has looked pretty good whenever it's been presented so far.
It is. It looks even better when it's lit up with that flame effect.
It does.
I think this is probably my favorite issue of this arc so far. It had a real good pace to it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
It's good.
So, no, read quick as well. Actually, I think
it did. Yeah,
for what it was. What are you giving Avengers 15?
Solid 7.
I'll agree with that. 7 out of 10. That's good. We're making good time here, by the way. Good time.
Yeah, we're storming through
all these books. If you're disappointed that we're speeding through these a little bit quicker than normal, don't worry, I'll be back to normal next week. There's a lot of goddamn books though. Next up is Captain America issue 8, which was from just this past week. Yeah. So he's in prison basically, because we knew he was going to that prison that Von Strucker's now running, because Von Strucker cut a deal to rat on his Hydra buddies. And now he's how it goes from cutting a deal for immunity to running the prison, is a question that
The
Marvel
because
days.
America.
Oh,
What more do you want?
yeah. Just funny because the art in this is pretty good. I remember like voicing my disappointment that it had changed because I really liked Yu's art from before. But the art here from Kubert, obviously this is written by Ta-Nehisi Coates as well.
Yeah. Do you think you've just got over the fact that?
Yeah, I've gotten over it because I don't know what I read before this, but whatever I read before this had weaker art. It might have been X-Men.
Coming into this fresh, not expecting the art from the first arc, you're like, yeah, okay, this is still pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So a lot of this is Cap kind of in prison and he's dealing with his routine and sticking to himself and staying away from the other inmates and all that, who are kind of taunting him and like, hey, you were the head of Hydra. He's like, that wasn't me. He's like, yeah, keep telling yourself that. We know who you are.
Yeah,
you did all this. Interesting scene in the middle though is Kingpin.
Yes.
You know, Sharon goes to see Kingpin and tries to like, you know, this murder of Ross happened in your city, and you know everything that happens in this city because you're that powerful. And you know he plays it like, yeah, you overestimate my power, yada yada yada. But she's like demanding he tell her, and she kind of like just like if this scene does a really good job at making both of them feel like they're very good at talking at people and like saying the right thing.
Yeah, they got a great back and forth.
Yeah. And ultimately, even though he's adamant and he never really admits that he knows anything, he does give her some information. He gives her like a USB stick.
Yes.
So she gets something out of him.
She does. It worked.
Yeah.
Right, which is she probably didn't go in there expecting to get a huge amount. So you know, anything is a win.
Yeah. So that was a really good scene. And I think the idea that all these other criminals are taunting Steve and like, oh, you belong here, that kind of thing, and all these various beats. It's played because he's kind of been beating himself up like since the start of this book. So him being in prison kind of almost feels like the natural progression to how he's
it's
himself.
Like fine, give me my punishment.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of working.
Yeah, I think my only disappointment of the book is obviously we left last time with the team stepping out.
Yeah, we get a little bit of them at the end, but yeah, not
yeah,
much.
I felt like we didn't really follow up on that as a cliffhanger in the following issue. Even though I like everything that is in this issue, I just felt like I was missing some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Real good though. This
Marvel,
this book's been kind of great.
Why did you put your recap page like 3 pages in, Marvel? Don't do that. Put it at the start so I can get it to it easily. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Lookins. I was looking for the Lookin names. Alexa Lookin. A little bit with them on the plane. And yeah, so they end up getting their asses bit a little bit by the super villain that they've got. Does not go well. She kind of
it doesn't.
overtakes them a little bit. And so that stuff's kind of ticking along. I actually really like that panel of the hand coming behind his head.
Yeah, it's a good panel.
It was a really nice moment. But she wraps them all up in her powers and gets into a bit of a fight. And what's weird is at the end of it, it seems like she's actually taking control of him. Like she's actually, it looks like she's possessed him in a weird way. Like he's all red, glowing eyes, the smoke coming from his eyes.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see where it goes with this because, I mean, can she just possess, or is it more of a torture wing going on?
It's the what's the way saying like Hail Hydra, like really strong. It's like she's if not possession, then at least like.
That's what I'm saying. Is it more of a torture? Just she's just breaking him.
Well, no, torture. I'm thinking it's more it's heightening his feelings because like these are probably things that he already thinks. If that makes sense, this is already his beliefs, but it's heightening them to this extreme animalistic or demonic kind of level.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, because all we get at the team, the daughters, is just at the end. It's like the USB stick you got. So what do we have here? It's like, and they believe they have the person who killed Ross.
Yes, the foreigner.
The foreigner, yes, who's apparently the ex-husband of Silver Sable. Yes.
I'm not familiar with it myself.
Nor am I. I'm glad it told me and very clearly. I mean, that ex husband of Silver Sable was like such a good fact. I was like, okay, I have a vague recollection of who she is.
Yes, it's given me a benchmark to
Yes.
kind of go for. Even though I'm not, massively familiar with her either, but it's something.
It's something. But yeah. No, I've been enjoying this book a lot, and I think this issue, like, I would agree that it doesn't really fall up in the cliffhanger. I mean, the Sharon stuff kind of fits into that because it was all in service of that, but
it does, yeah. But it was Lester. I want to see this team. I want to see them interact a little bit. I want to get to know them as a group.
Yes. How long do we go before they're like doing a prison break and getting Steve out?
3 issues.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
I expect Steve's going to do something noteworthy in the prison as well before he goes. But
that's assuming he decides to go. I can see them kind of going, all right, we'll get him out, and him choosing to stay there.
Yeah, I also liked all the stuff about Strucker tormenting the prisoners and like doing it loudly so that everyone else would be scared of him.
Yeah.
I like that. Especially because they're all bad guys, so it's the idea that he's like terrifying anyway.
He's the really bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, I think that. And like I said, the art was good. It played with the sort of the darker emotion that Steve's going through, and the espionage kind of.
It's definitely working for this story, isn't it?
Yeah. What are you giving Captain America 8?
An 8.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 too. Both here sharing the same numbers, but hey ho. I'll take us on then to Daredevil issue 2. Chip Zdarsky writing with Marco Checchetto on the art. So we quite liked issue 1 of this, and it ended with Matt everyone found out that someone that Daredevil had beaten up earlier that night had got a blood clot and died. So he had essentially killed someone. And this issue I actually really liked because it's basically Matt going around trying to prove that it wasn't him, and ultimately learning that all the things he thinks is going to prove that it wasn't him, none of them do. Probably my favourite moment of the whole issue is when he's actually listening to Kingpin talking to the police.
Yeah.
And he's outside because Daredevil does that thing where he's listening to the heartbeat and he's listening for the palpitations to tell the line.
It's not even the police he's talking to, is it? The police leave and it's his assistant dude.
Oh, quite right. So it's not even like it's just like someone that he maybe would be more likely to tell the truth to. And he's like, because he's like, hey, I wish it was me, but alas, it was not.
It says here, if I had anything to do with it, I'd be bursting to tell you.
Yeah.
But sadly, it wasn't me.
It's almost like Kingpin's admitting that he's got a bit of an ego in this scene. He's being brutally honest, which actually it lends credence to like Matt being like, that just it's this quiet big spread of a page where he's like, I'm listening for that beat to come, and it never does. It's like this terrifying idea that maybe, just maybe, I actually did kill this guy, and I'm still expecting him to kind of to give him an out at some point, and it wasn't.
Yeah,
really him.
and that's I said I went on about this on the last issue that I hope it's not. I hope he just has to deal with that he made a mistake. That's just more interesting to me.
Because he goes to the doctor or the coroner, and he grabs. No, that's the doctor. It's the surgeon.
It is the doctor.
Because the surgeon's like, hey, look. I have patched up a lot of people that you've beat up, and because even he compliments me, he's like, you have an understanding of the human anatomy in a way where you hurt them really bad, but never in a way that's permanent or never in a way that causes any serious damage. But you went too far this time, and he criticizes, and this is maybe one of the things that maybe lends to the idea that he didn't do it, that he does know what he's doing, he didn't make a mistake, and someone else inflicted this blow.
Yeah.
After the
possible.
fact. Or here's gorgeous, by the way, like Daredevil in the shadows when he's holding him up. But the doctor's the doctor's not getting scared though. I love that he's just telling them off. He's like, no, enough of this bullshit. You know how many people I've patched up that you've been hurting? It's like,
yeah.
You're going too far.
Yeah, the art in this issue in general is fantastic. That first panel where Daredevil jumps out at the doctor, it's all the shadows, just the red of the logo and the eyes. It's a fantastic image.
Yeah, and bizarrely, much like Captain America that we just talked about, there's a scene in the middle with Kingpin. Obviously, we talked about the ending of it, but we have to mention that the cop's going to him, because we have this cop from last issue who is kind of gunning for Daredevil, but also Kingpin, because as he's leaving, he says to him, in his narration, he's like, yeah, I'm gunning for Daredevil, but Kingpin's next on the list. Like, I'm taking him down. So we've got this righteous cop now.
Detective North.
Detective North, there you go. The assumption here is, I suppose, that we're going to have the arc where by the end of the story, maybe not this arc, but maybe the second or third arc, where Daredevil will kind of earn his respect in some way, and he'll learn to work with them because it's for the greater good, or whatever.
Which I think is maybe a little bit of a complaint that's a little bit cliche. That okay, I can see where that's going already.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not. I mean, the book does end with him shooting Daredevil and him calling it in, so we'll see how that picks up next time.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that page with him listening for Kingpin's heartbeat.
It's easily the best moment of the book.
It's just so good.
Because it's split into two. That page, it's two halves. The top of it, up close and and in the radar vision, waiting for the heartbeat, and then just the bottom half, just him up on the ledge, just looking down on the city, looking kind of tiny.
Yeah, and the stuff after that is basically he's going around like solving, well, not solving crimes, but like helping people, stopping muggers, that kind of thing. And he's noting that everyone's scared of him, including the victims. And he's feeling the difference. He's feeling the difference because of this news, and he's speculating like if his friends will even look at him the same way. What these villains think? These villains think, well, we may as well just go all out and try and kill him because now he's going to cross that line. Do we have to be scared of him in a bigger way now? But he gets so distracted by his feelings that when the cops run into him, he's not prepared.
Yeah, because he's back at the crime scene of where the guy died.
Yeah, it's not random, because it's not like he just runs into them on the street.
Yeah. So he's back there going, oh, maybe someone's missed something and I can catch it. And obviously the two cops are coming back and going, maybe just something. And then, he just happens to be there. Yeah,
so North guns him down and calls it in at the end. That's how we end the issue. So now, 2 issues in, and digging Daredevil quite a bit.
Yeah, I enjoyed this issue more as well, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the pacing was a little bit better, and it had the bigger emotional beat. Although I thought the first issue was really good too. So
yeah, me too.
What are you giving Daredevil issue 2?
8.5.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I was thinking, do I want to go as high as a 9? I'm not quite there yet, but it feels like the run might go there after these 2 issues.
It does, yeah.
It feels like Zdarsky's onto something, so that's cool. That'll take us on to Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issue 3. Tom Taylor writing with Jan Cabal on the art. So we have the kidnapped woman. Spider-Man's left Johnny Storm looking after the 2 kids. His neighbor turned out to be this the rumor, this super powered woman.
Yeah. And
then this issue took us to where these people who are after these kids are from. So
I'm just right on the woman.
Yes.
Start off. No points for originality in the name because Umbrella Academy. It's the same name.
It was a hard name, and it honestly never got brought up in the show, I don't think, so I never knew that.
Yeah, it is. The rumor that was a name. So I mean, come on.
Hey, Taylor may not have read that.
That's no excuse. Ignorance does not, excuse copyright. I'm not saying it was copyright on the name here. I'm just saying it doesn't hold up as an argument.
If it's not something you can copyright, then it does hold up as an argument.
I'm saying I don't know if the copyright holds up on the name. It might do. I don't know.
I'll think it will.
I would have thought not because it's too descriptive, but I can't be sure.
All right. Okay, you got that complaint out of the way.
Yeah. It bugged me. What do you want me to say?
Yeah, I couldn't give a shit about this. I couldn't give a shit about it. So, I'm curious, long-time Marvel readers, can you tell us if the thing that's brought up in this issue is a thing from Marvel history that already existed, or is this a complete new invention from Taylor? Because if this is
presented as a new thing, right?
Yeah, if this is a new invention, it's new to Spider-Man at the very least. If this is a new invention, this is a pretty big deal, because he's put an underground version of the city that's close to the core of the earth.
Under York.
Under York, that was the name of it. And it's like a replica of the city that's underneath the ground, like quite far down. And all these people who are like sort of this orangey coloured skin, they all come from this place. And basically what happened is someone from there had an affair with the Earth woman, created these kids, and the big bad guy down here, of course, is the grandfather of these kids, and wants his grandkids. But Spider-Man and the Rumor go down. There's jokes, because there's a big elevator, it references back to the elevator joke from the first issue, and they basically go, grab her, there's some action, they come back up. But at the end of the issue, it's like, we basically just declared war with the Underyork because of what we just did. So
this issue's a bit on the weird side.
It's a weird concept. I mean, when he revealed that Undercity, I was like, huh.
What are we doing here?
Okay, alright.
I'm not immediately sold. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm curious. I did like Johnny Storm meeting Boomerang.
Yeah.
That was amusing to me. And Boomerang is like, I'm just going to hide in my room just in case you think I'm being super villainy.
Yeah,
Was basically the thing.
Oh, that was fun.
But despite the concept itself feeling very kind of big and grandiose and like out of nowhere, as per usual, the pacing was good, the dialogue was good. You know, Spider-Man interacting with these characters was typically very fun. All the jokes about the elevator and him getting thrown around inside it, you know, and sticking to the walls and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I think part of my problem is that it is such a big concept, and the first two issues fulfilled this promise that the book was, you know, friendly neighborhood, small scale.
Mm.
And then this happens, and I went, well, I guess it's not anymore, is it?
No, that's fair.
And I don't know, it feels like it betrayed a little bit of what I was expecting from the book.
I don't know. It's not so much about expectations for me. It's more just, even like an Amazing Spider-Man, this would feel like a big deal.
No, it would. But that's my point. It would feel like a big deal, but at least in Amazing Spider-Man, they're telling me, like, they're outright saying, no, Amazing Spider-Man's doing the big stuff. Friendly neighborhood, we're doing smaller scale, we're doing little things.
See, that's the thing. I don't really take it that literally, though. Like, this is like saying Detective Comics should be the detective-y Batman book, and it very rarely is.
No. Okay, that's fine. I'm not even going by name alone. This is in the back of the first issue, and in interviews, they're actively saying that is the purpose of this book. That is what I am buying this book on. That you know, I'm not buying it just on. I mean, in this case, I'm buying it on Tom Taylor's name.
Yeah, well, I was going to bullshit you there for a second.
Yeah,
no.
But okay, take his name off it, and you know, this book's starting. There's interviews as to go. Yeah, all right, should I pick up issue 1 as a consumer, not necessarily as a you know, someone doing this podcast, as a consumer? They're going, okay, this is what this book is, and I'm going, oh, I really like the sound of this. That's why I'm going to go and buy it. I buy the first 2 issues, and it's you know, it's living up to what they're telling me the book is, and then the third issue kind of just throws that out the window. That frustrates me.
Yeah, I didn't buy it for the premise, so I bought it because Tom Taylor's writing.
Well, I did in this case, but that's not the point.
I mean, it's big and wacky. I want to see what it's done with it. But I mean, like, this is the thing, though. Like, despite the wacky concept, I was still enjoying it. Like, everything it was doing with the characters. So, I mean, did it have to be an underground city that's near the core of the Earth? Probably not. Like, is there more to this that we're getting to, or
War with Underyork just feels huge and out of nowhere.
It feels very big. I will concede this. But it's probably my least favorite of the 3 because this feels so big and ridiculous and out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But still solidly written. Art's still up to the same standard as it was before. Like I said,
yeah, all the character stuff I still like.
Yeah, everything that's happening in the plot's actually good. If this was just going to a different building in the city, and it was the same things happened, maybe there was just a secret basement, and that's where the elevator went. Like,
yeah, that'd be fine.
It would all be fine. But it's just really, really big and grandiose. That said, still a solid 7.5 out of me, because
I'm going 6.5. This took me out of it.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah.
So they do save the woman, though. They're on the way back with her, and it's like, hey, we had a win, but then the rumor's like, yeah, we had a win, but we just declared war with the Undercity. They're going to come no matter what.
Yeah, and he had to climb up the elevator for the last bit.
Yes, yeah, he was carrying both of them. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good job. He's got that super strength there.
Yeah, I imagine he's pretty exhausted.
Yes, yes. I complain if I have to climb, more than 5 flights of stairs, and
Yeah, I've said it before. I used to live on the 12th floor of a building,
yeah.
and it only had one elevator
Uh,
that worked, and that was hell.
yep, yep, yep. So there you go. That's a friendly British Spider-Man. Um, I'm still looking forward to issue 4. I want to see what it's doing with this, because even if the plots are a lot more ridiculous than I thought they were going to be, uh, Taylor's voices for characters is one of the things that I really like about his writing, and it's the one thing
Yeah.
that's never let me down on him. So I am a-okay with everything else. So that will take us on to Fantastic Four number 7. Dan Slott writing, Aaron Kuder and John Lucas both on the art. So we're in Latveria. Galactus is there, and we ended last issue with Doom kind of saying, "Yeah, you're here, but this was all part of my plan," and now he's going to enact his plan, which
Yes.
ultimately leads to him trapping Galactus in his mountain so that they can use him as an energy source.
Yep.
And it's like a tribute to the mountain because his father died on that mountain, saving his life.
It's convoluted.
This is a bit convoluted, yes. I'll be honest. My favorite part of this issue. This is not a knock against the issue because I like Ben and Johnny fighting and Ben like single-handedly trying to take on Galactus. Amusing stuff. My favorite part was probably when it cut back to the house with the family and the kids had snuck out of bed or were trying to build a teleporter so they could join in.
I like that too. And then at the end, it was like there was a mention of cake.
Yes. Because we should offer the kids some wet and cake. It's like, they're not in bed. The old pillows under the sheet. And I love how his is pillows under the sheet. And then it's like,
And hers
for
is
Valerie,
a hologram.
It's a hologram. Yeah, it's definitely Reed's daughter.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and they're pissed at them because they're taking apart the car and the truck to try and build a teleport.
Yeah, it's like, you better put that back together. It's like, I was going to put it back together in the morning.
Yeah, it's funny actually because I think Fantastic Four falls into I like the characters and their interactions, and the plot's okay. The plot's fine. It's doing whatever it's doing.
I think this book is being hurt a little bit by delays because I think it was relatively early January we had this issue, and now it's this is a March issue.
No, it's not. It's a February issue.
Is it?
Yes, this came out Wednesday, a week ago. It was still February.
Was that still February?
Oh my
How long was February?
28 days.
Are you sure?
The 1st of March was like Thursday or Friday.
Okay, I'm out of whack. Fair enough then. It just feels like a long time. It feels like longer than usual between this and I'm feeling it. I could probably check dates, but I can't be bothered.
No, you'd rather sit there and argue about it without checking it.
Fine, I will go and check the damn dates.
No, I wasn't me. That was me just telling you to shut up in the first place, not confirm it now.
Well, you're too late. You've started something. There's a point of pride to be had here now. You prick.
You don't need to know the meaning of the word pride.
I know the meaning of it. I just choose to ignore it.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time. Right, issue 6 was the last one. Apparently issue 6 had a director's cut as well. That was 16th of January. So yeah, it was like 6 weeks. I felt the extra couple of weeks.
Okay.
No, I did. What do you want me to say?
Yeah. That was pretty much the issue. Although that said, at the end of the book, they're like, yeah, technically, even though part of my plan was for the Fantastic Four to show up, they did technically break the rules that I made about anyone in on Latveria, so we're going to have to kill them now.
Yeah.
That's Doom's kind of ending to this issue.
Yeah, I think it's a solid issue. All the stuff in it is kind of, it's alright, it's enjoyable enough. Like I said, I think it really shows that the kids are maybe the best part, because when it cut back to them, it was immediately more enjoyable, like their banter. The actual super heroic stuff going on was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
But as a family unit, the back and forth is the highlight of the book for sure.
Yeah. We giving it?
Give it a 6.5.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll agree. I've agreed with too many scores tonight, but
Yeah, well, you should go first then. Then I'm forced to agree with you.
I did that with one of them.
Oh, you did, didn't you?
Yeah. But I'll take us on note back to a Spider-Man book, Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 3, and this was from the previous week, so bear with us. This was the end of the arc, actually. This was only a 3-issue arc. This opening.
It was. This was, Captain America.
Yes.
That's where we left the end of the previous issue.
Indeed. So obviously working with Rhino, still looking for these kids. And Cap's even on board with working with Rhino. He's like, yeah, Cap's
yeah, you get to. I really like Cap's voice in this. How he's immediately to Miles going, all right, Spider-Man, how's it going?
Yeah,
and Miles is like, oh, hey, he actually has given me some level of respect.
Yeah, he's also asking for his opinions. He's asking for what he thinks they should do next and things like that. So he's kind of freaking out and being starstruck and
wasn't feeling the art too much in this issue. Again, I had some issues with the mask for Miles, especially the eyes. A handful of times it just looks wrong. Like on the second page, there's a panel on the right where they look really sunken in these little squares. I don't know, just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
There's a few things with just Cap in general feels a bit off at times.
So they get to the rest of the kids, who attacked them, and it turns out the guy called the Snatcher is behind this. He's got a big ginger beard.
I'd like to say I don't want to claim him, but he's ginger all round. It's not just a ginger beard. I
mean, if you shaved your head and put on some sunglasses, you'd look like this dude.
Hey, my beard is not that long.
Okay, give it a couple months to grow.
Yeah, okay, I can't argue anymore.
Yeah, but yeah, he has sunglasses. He's got these eyes. He can kind of control people. It's a thing that he can do, and he's kind of harnessed it for the kids. And
it's got quite a demented look when he lifts up the sunglasses.
Yeah. No, that was good. So basically, they kind of capture him, but to try and when he makes all the kids kind of like point guns at each other. So kind of a dark idea actually, when you really stop and think about it.
Yeah, John, I'm just obviously, and this is something that I read, a week before, but this is a weird paced issue. I'm remembering as you get to this point, because when it got to that page, I was convinced that was a cliffhanger for the next issue with all the kids pointing at each other, and then it just kept going, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess not.
Yeah, but Spider-Man ends up using his Venom blast punch stinger majigga, and yeah, and that's basically it. So that's kind of how they solve it. And they, Rhino and Cap shake hands, and he's like, "I hope you continue down this path." And he's like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, and Cap buggers off to the Avengers.
Yeah, I mean, it actually references the vampire thing going on.
Yep.
The vampire war. So that's nice. So yeah, I mean, honestly, Rhino and Spider-Man is like back and forth is kind of the main selling point of this issue.
It's been the best part of this series.
Yeah.
Which has me mildly concerned for the next issue. In that, are we going to be able to carry the momentum with him on his own again?
Yeah, I don't have any reason to worry. I think him and Ned or him and whoever is going to be fine. That's just been the focus in this.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so yeah, he ends up going to the movies with his love interest, who
definitely suspects that he might be Spider-Man.
Yeah, what she said again?
She mentioned something. It was like, oh, but only Spider-Man would know about that, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yes, of course.
And he's got the eyes looking over at her. Yeah. So yeah, he's got a nice happy ending. He's on a date. He's at the movies. Delightful romp to open up this book. First 3 issues.
Yeah.
I'm digging it. I think I'm liking the art a little bit more than you are.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it too much.
I'm certainly not noticing the eye problem as much as you are. But I think there's a lot of books, especially this week, where I'm saying, okay, the plot's maybe whatever, but the characters and how they're reacting with each other and their back and forth and their dialogue is kind of what makes the book for me. And I feel like that in some ways is more important for a serialized story, more than the plot, perhaps. I'm thinking,
point, yeah.
if I compare it to like a TV show where it's a different plot every episode, but you come back for the characters. Yeah, some episodes might be great and have a great plot, but a lot of them will just be kind of in the middle. And
yeah, I think it's there's a line. Like, obviously, if it gets to a point where, okay, this plot is actively detrimental now.
Oh, which this certainly is not.
No, it's not. No, it's absolutely not. I enjoyed well enough here, right? Yeah. I'm not saying this is anywhere near that, but there is a point where it can become too important.
Yeah, but I think for an introduction to just get to know the new supporting cast and kind of maybe set up a new thing with Rhino, where this may be a recurring thing where Rhino pops back in. Probably not until after Hunted now, because he's involved in that. But
yeah, probably.
But that makes sense to me. So,
yeah.
But, what are you giving this issue?
I'm gonna give it a 6.5 because of the art things and then the pacing thing that I had.
Okay. I'm gonna give it an 8. I like this book. I think Ahmed's got a really good voice for his characters, and
that's definitely the best element of the book for sure.
Yeah, and I've only really read from him these 3 issues plus like that one annually did for Amazing Spider-Man. So, he's Miss Marvel book starting this month, so I'm looking forward to diving into that. But yeah, so that's Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 3. That'll take us on to West Coast Avengers issue 8. Kelly Thompson writing with Gang Hyuk Lim on the art. So different arts for this issue. And we have... So last issue we had Novar showing up, Kate's ex, and telling them there's a Skrulls plot happening with this cult involved and that they have to save the world.
And they're like, yeah, whatever, we'll get to it.
Yeah, and do you know what? I love this book. I really do. There's so much about the way the characters react to things that just speaks to me, where... They don't want to listen to him, right? He's got this murder board that he's put up overnight, and he's like trying to tell him about all this stuff. And he eventually, and he's like, yeah, they're kidnapping like stray people and using them for their weird cult sacrifices and stuff. And like, wait a minute, are you telling me people have actually went missing and abducted, and it's linked to these people? And he's like, well, yeah, you should have led with that. Yes, there's people being abducted. I mean, we don't necessarily believe the Skrull bullshit, but like.
We'll investigate that bit anyway.
There's people going missing. Of course, we're going to look into that. Like, it just makes sense. Also, I just realised that it's like a Charlie's Angels cover. I didn't even realise that before.
I didn't really look at the cover yet. Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
This many books, I was just going past the covers. It's like, right, come on, keep going.
But okay, so can we just talk about how since last issue, Kelly Thompson on Twitter has basically started a revolution?
I don't know if I've seen this. I don't know if I follow her on Twitter.
Geoff the Landshark has become a cultural icon. And,
this is news to me.
And has been going up against other cute creatures from other things in polls and such. And there's a real fandom brewing around Geoff the Landshark. So when this book started with Gwenpool pretending to be a victim for Geoff to feel like he's hunting someone, I did get a good chuckle out of it.
This is the new pizza dog, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although
Pizza Dog's still here, but yeah.
Yeah. I just mean in the sense of the impact it had.
Yeah. So yeah. Now her pretending to like be scared and going, oh no, someone saved me from the terrifying Landshark, was really giving me a chuckle.
Yeah.
So...
And also her bringing back the red shirt gag cracked me up.
Oh yeah, later on when she's like, I've been trying not to kill red shirts, but I mean you could tempt me. So, but lucky for you, I'm turning over a new leaf. And Kate's all in pain and sore, and everyone's just not hearing it. Another favourite little joke of mine. So they're coming up with this plan to, try and infiltrate this cult, and they're split into teams. And I did laugh at Quentin being mad that he was on the B team, but then Gwenpool's like, "Hey, she made you team leader." And it's like, "Oh yeah, team leader. That's not bad."
But I'll take it.
But the joke I loved on that page is Kate's saying, "Oh, Clint's going to be a celebrity, and we're all going to be recruits," and he's like, "You don't have to use air quotes with that, okay."
Yeah.
So
and then the reveal that he's not even being himself.
No. They're going to pretend to be Wonder Man, which is funny because I think to most people in the real world, Wonder Man is much more obscure. But it's really funny that they think Wonder Man's more famous than he is.
Yeah, it is funny.
Oh, it's so much gold. Like everything in this book has been delightful since issue 1. In fact, the other joke I really laughed at. So Quentin and Gwenpool like knock out some of the thugs, right? Get dressed up in their outfits, go into the cult in the back door, and the guy's like, "Hey, you've got pink hair. None of us have pink hair. What's the password?" And she's like, "8." And Quentin's like, "Really? 8?
Really?"
And the guy's like, "That's actually right, but you sound surprised, so I'm not buying it."
This whole sequence was fantastically done.
Even just her disappointment.
Yeah.
She's like, "See, this book is making me a Gwenpool fan, and I kind of hate it for it."
Yeah, me too.
Better than Deadpool. I'm saying it, people. Better than Deadpool.
I don't necessarily disagree.
This one wasn't created by Rob Liefeld. That's an instant leg up.
That's a step up right there. Yeah.
That's an instant leg up. The team get somewhat trapped. Quentin and Gwenpool run to her mother, and her mother wants to help them go find the rest of the guys because
they were immediately made.
Yes. We knew who you were. So you're the West Coast Avengers. We know who you are. So they end up having to fight. Fun moment when they throw. What's his face? Novar makes a bow for Kate. And she's like, "Oh, this feels way more comfortable," and she starts shooting a bow.
It's like the energy bow. It's cool.
But the big twist in is it's not Skrulls. Novar's an idiot. He's been wrong the whole time. It's actually vampires, which is funny that we're doing a vampire thing in Avengers right now.
It feels a little bit weird.
Yeah, but I mean, these are all vampires in robes, and they're debating America, and that's the big cliffhanger. So,
Yeah.
That said, I like this more than the Avengers issue, even though I like that Avengers issue. So. I'll give.
Yeah.
If I'm going to say one's too much vampires, I'll say Avengers is too much vampires. This is the right amount of vampires.
I happen to agree. Sorry, I got distracted. I went onto the letters page, which is barely a letters page. It's more of a tweets page.
Yes.
In the bottom right, there's a haiku.
Okay.
And it gave me a chuckle. Just because of what you just told me about the Landshark. Yeah.
But Geoff, I'm going to go find it. I'm going to go read it for the audience.
Yeah.
Where are we?
The bottom right one.
Bottom right one. Okay, I'm going to make it nice and big so I can read it. Yo, I wrote a poem. I hate you, haiku. You're too hard to do. Splash, Landshark feet.
I love that that's one of the things they chose. Letters page. That's going in. That's gold.
This is a good tweet. This book's the Parks and Rec crossed with the Bizarro Action of the Marvel Universe. It's the Parks and Rec of Marvel.
It is, yeah.
That's why I like
no
it
wonder
so
we like it.
Yeah, there you go. Hey Kelly,
put this tweet in your comic. Am I doing it right?
Hey, it got in, so.
Yeah. How the hell have we not got a tweet in this yet? This seems easy.
That's the mission for next issue. Need to tweet.
Yeah.
Kelly Thompson with some good Landshark jokes.
Yeah.
Maybe make it in.
Is that the new goal for this podcast?
Yes.
Get a tweet in the back of West Coast Avengers.
Ours was pretty good. From Liam. A
couple of moments that were a little weird.
It did have that shiny thing that some Marvel books have that I don't like too much, but
yeah, but it was very cartoony, very expressive.
Yeah, which works for this book. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
It's hard to really fault it for that.
I was into it.
Delightful. That's my review for this. One word review. Delightful. But if I give it a number, Connor, what are you giving it?
I will give it an 8.5.
Yes.
Are you annoyed that you're agreeing again?
Well, I kind of want to give it a 9, but like it just doesn't have that extra spark. It doesn't have that extra.
It's not quite that.
The plot doing it. That's something special to make it the 9. But this is still one of my favorite issues though. The book. I like this more than the last couple.
Yeah, me too.
I liked them a lot, but this was really good.
This is better.
That will take us on to Guardians of the Galaxy issue 2. Donny Cates writing, Geoff Shaw on the art, and Star-Lord's got a new team, and he's been a drunken fool about it. He's calling Kitty and being drunk and asking for help, and ultimately it's like, should we try and help Gamora? And there's a bit of a debate on the ship amongst the people. You know, Beta Ray Bill's like, no, we can't just go and kill her. Like, just because she could be Thanos, we can't just kill her for that. And Cosmic Ghost Rider's a bit of a dick, and is like, no, let's just go kill her. Which leads him off the ship.
Cosmic Ghost Rider's kind of fun.
He's alright.
He's fun in just being a dick sort of way.
Hela's going after the Collector, looking for the head, Thanos' head. She's got the body, but the head's missing.
Yeah, just casually looking for the head.
As you do. I actually kind of like the other two characters in the ship, who are in a relationship, the two ladies. I don't know who they are yet, though. There was no roll call page. I need a roll call page for this comic, damn it.
Yeah, I don't remember their names at all.
Yeah, but I do like how Groot made a lot of little mini Groots who just run around going, I am Stab, I am Stab.
Yeah, that was delightful.
As he's fighting Cosmic Ghost Rider. And Star-Lord's just had enough of this shit. He doesn't want anything to do with anything. He's just mad. He doesn't know what to do himself. That's the whole thing. So
I get it.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. But we also find out that the Shi'ar Empire, they're sending the Gladiator, and they've got a whole team of people. That's where Cosmic Ghost Rider ends up, and they're basically forming a plan, and they're going to do some shady shit.
Do some shady shit. That's typically how villains work.
Yeah, they're going to go kill Gamora. But the big reveal at the end of this is that Nebula is in this. She's like, yeah, I'll kill my sister. And credit to the movie, because now reading her dialogue, I just heard the voice from the movie.
Yeah, you heard Karen Gillan, didn't you?
Well, Karen Gillan through a robotic processor.
Yeah, but it's still very distinctly her voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And apparently Nova's coming in.
Yeah, she's got a thing with Nova, so they're going to go after Nova, Richard Rider. So the book, like, I think this issue worked better for him in the last issue. It still does have a little bit of that. I don't know what some of these corners of the universe are like, and what, because Shi'ar Empire, I kind of know what the Shi'ar Empire is, but not to any great extent. I don't know all the team members yet, but I like Beta Ray Bill well enough. I like Groot. Star-Lord's fine.
I'm expecting some payoff with this Rider joke when Nova shows up, with him being like, "Hey, did you name your ship after me?"
Yeah.
I could see that being fun.
Yeah. Art's pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm digging it.
That's pretty solid. I don't have any great sort of things to say about it, but it's just solid.
It is really solid. Yeah, I'm still kind of feeling the groove. Like, okay, where are we going with this? Who are these characters? So I'm not like immediately like, oh, this is amazing, or have all these really hot takes on it. I'm just trying to find my footing still. Yeah,
like I want to keep giving it a chance, because it's not as bad. It's just fine so far, but like it feels like the sort of thing that could find its footing after an arc and get good once it's really established what's going on. But right now, and maybe that's just a lack of like general Marvel knowledge.
Yeah, I feel like part of this is on us for not being familiar with any of this, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a fault in the writing for it not being more immediately accessible.
Yeah, many an issue one that's not it's like a relaunch of a thing has worked for new readers. This is not quite there in that sense, but it's
not immediately.
It's not impenetrable, but it's not like making it super easy either. So so that's kind of where I am on Guardians. What you giving this?
Yeah, no, I feel very similar place to that, so I'm gonna go with a 6.5.
I'll give it a 6.
Okay.
Because it's a different number from Connor's, and it's about damn time.
That's the only reason, and you didn't want to go up to a 7.
No, I didn't like it enough to go up to 7. Okay, so Venom number 11 is next. Donny Cates again writing this one. This has got art by Joshua Cassara and Ryan Stegman. I can take a book off.
Yeah, this one looks gorgeous. We'll just do the art, and this is fantastic. This is following up on the previous stuff with Eddie's there. It's a lot of this is in his head, with him talking to the symbiote. There's a lot of people mad at Donny Cates for this issue for retconning shit. The amount of shit he got on Twitter after this issue was ridiculous. Because basically what it boils down to is he learns that the symbiote is giving him false memories. So you remember that sister that I mentioned that a couple of issues ago, that his dad doesn't even remember that this person existing, or acting like she didn't exist. She didn't. He was like, oh, I've got these memories of my uncle dying with cancer, but never happened. And then it goes to, I remember being in the church, the night that he first, got the symbiote, right? And he goes, I was there because, I was dying from cancer, but I wasn't. He's like, I never had cancer. There's obviously been a bunch of stories where the cancer's come back, right? And it turns out it never has. It's just every time that he's getting strong and confident and basically self-supporting and isn't codependent on the symbiote, that it is basically giving him these memories and altering his body to make it appear like he has cancer, just so that they'll stay together. It's this extremely codependent relationship, and it got creepy. And that's like the large crux of the issue is the two of them arguing and having this debate and the truth coming out. And it's, the symbiote kind of basically admitting that it was just scared to be on its own. And then the final reveal is the kid who was his younger brother, right? That we met a couple of issues ago. It isn't his brother at all. It's actually his son.
So a lot of revelations going on here.
There is, yeah. But it's really well told. In the page the couple of pages specifically with the symbiote kind of popping up behind Eddie, in this all on this white background, is just fantastic. It's some of the best looking art of all the books this week is in those sequences. It's great stuff. So I'll give it a solid 8. You should really be reading this book.
Look, I have so much Thor to catch up on, and that gets priority. Once that's done, maybe.
It should have been done last week, and you know it.
But, and that said, there's other things I'd rather catch up on and try and catch up on Venom.
It's like 11 issues. You can catch up on that in like 2 days.
Yeah, but that could be like a chunk of my Turtles catch up. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are important. There has been requests for coverage, and I would like to provide that coverage because I need to catch up, and I want to catch up.
Yeah, he might be caught up in a year or so.
Yeah, well, maybe by issue 100, which is later this year.
Ambitious.
Yeah, well, if I really get in the mood and plough through that 40 odd issues that I've got to read.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what does that take us on to? It takes us on to Avengers No Road Home, issues 2 and 3. So this is the weekly book, which is kind of part of the main Avengers series, but it's really just a mini-series. It's the whole thing. So what's funny is I read issue 2 last week, and I read issue 3 today. So
what's funny is I read issue 2 last week and decided I didn't want to read anymore.
Oh, really?
I was going to tell you this on the show because originally we were going to try and squeeze in the episode early last week, and it fell apart. And I was going to tell you on that episode, I was like, nah, do you know what? I'm done. I'm not interested in this side book. And then I thought, well, guess I'll just save it.
I think I'll drop it too. Like, I'm not like, it's not the worst thing ever. Like, it's
It's not
fine-ish.
awful, but I'm just like, I don't care. This is such a side story that it's not doing anything for me.
No, like the last issue ended with like Clint was in a hospital and Hulk came in, and then this issue 3, like, you know, Rocket stumbles in, kind of like tells Hulk to quit it, and then it turns out they're not really in a hospital. It's just like in a creation of this godlike character. I don't know. It's a whole thing. And apparently Zeus made this MacGuffin that they have to find. So they're looking.
Sounds about right.
So they're looking for
classic Zeus. That
they're looking for this MacGuffin, and if you're like, that's not what it was called. No, a MacGuffin is just an item that's a plot device, which is the entire plot's revolving around. That's all I mean by this. I'm saying a MacGuffin because that's all it feels like. It's just, here's the thing that people need to solve the plot.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, do you know what the real sad part is I read this, like, not even like early today. I read this like maybe second, third last, you know, quite soon
I'm
before
just
we
struggling
recorded.
to remember it already.
And I'm struggling to remember what happened beyond that, because I think part of the problem is here is that it's a weekly series, and I feel like each issue doesn't necessarily have that much progression in the way that a normal comic book does.
Yeah.
And that's making it kind of a rougher read. And
it might be fine as just a trade at the end.
Maybe.
Although they'll probably do 2 trades out of it, won't they, the bastards?
Sounds like Marvel, let's be honest.
Well, their standard trade's like 5 issues now anyway. As the benchmark, I feel like that's the baseline is 5. So
yeah, and you know, Nyx is obviously
fine,
doing her thing.
Yeah.
Did you think I meant art there?
No.
Okay.
I said, yeah, she's fine as a villain, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give credit. All 3 issues so far have been the same artist. I'm assuming that's going to, you know.
Yeah, that will not last.
But I was surprised it was 3 in a row. The same artist.
They got a nice lead time on that.
Yeah, and there's fights happening. They don't really feel like they matter that much, though.
No. It's just a really underwhelming book, and I feel like it's got nothing going for it.
No, it feels like there's something to make money. It really does. It feels like all these Age of X-Man minis. Like, yeah. I'm not interested. It just feels like an extra thing. It'd be, I mean, if it was really well written and whatever, sure, but it's not really. The issue ends with Hercules getting stabbed with these special blades from this other god that cuts through reason and sanity. So he basically, his eyes light up green, and he's like, the Avengers failed to save Olympus. They bear the responsibility, so the last son of Olympus must balance the scales by killing them all. So Hercules has went evil at the end of the 3rd issue.
Sounds thrilling.
And that basically made me groan, and it was kind of like,
that's pretty generic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty generic. So yeah, and yeah, I left it till almost last. I clearly didn't really care that much about this issue, especially after issue 2.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've got a good Hulk book. I'm getting a good amount of Clint and West Coast Avengers. You know, there's none of the characters. I mean, sure, Rocket's fun to read, and I'm not getting Rocket anywhere else, but it's not enough to sort of plough through this. I don't think.
Not, no. It's not like it's a really bad book. It's just not exciting. I don't really care about it, and
it feels superfluous.
Yeah,
is how I describe it.
I've got enough better books every week to read that I feel like I'm just wasting my time on it.
Yeah. But there you go. That's No Road Home. It's weird to rate because honestly, like 5.5. That issue's 3.
Yeah, fair enough.
So moving on then to out of the Marvel stuff into other stuff, we got Black Hammer: Age of Doom issue 8. Jeff Lemire writing, Dean Armstrong is back on the art. But we all talked a little bit about the last couple of issues because we really talked up to issue 5 the last time we spoke about it.
Yeah. 6 and 7 are a little two-parter.
A little two-parter. So we could theoretically have done that as a little two-parter thing.
I don't think we realised it was such a two-parter.
Yeah, I don't think we knew. And then Cthulhu Louise, which was a one-shot that came out between 7 and 8, which again is a little standalone thing.
Yeah.
So
Should we talk about just 6 and 7 first?
Yeah, go number 67, and basically Colonel Weird. He thinks everyone else disappears when they're leaving the power zone, but it seems to be actually him, and it gets very meta.
All I'm saying is, Lemire went full Morrison.
Yes, and I don't know if I like it.
I was really into it. But this is the sort of thing that when Morrison does it, I really love that as well, and I know you're not as into it when it goes that route.
There's two things I'll say about these two issues. I didn't like the art.
Oh, did you not?
Nope, I don't like the art in these two issues.
That baffles me.
It's just not for me. I don't like it. And then on top of that, when it went full Morrison, and the second, issue 7 has because in the first half I was getting these vibes because it kept talking about were story ideas that were thought of but never used, and it made me think of a meta thing. I was thinking, is this maybe some sort of weird meta thing of Lemire's ideas that he's not used? And don't get me wrong, I love the idea of Inspector and Sector. That's a great name.
Who's kind of it's Blue Beetle as a PI
pretty much. But in the second part of this, in issue 7, when they come out of an ear, and then you don't see his face because it's in the clouds, but it's clearly Jeff Lemire.
It's clearly Lemire, yeah.
Yeah, and then you get the 2-page spread of all the people in the cloud, and it's presumably.
I wish I could recognize all of his friends, and it's like, right, okay, who are all of these?
Yeah, but I just okay. I mean, I didn't hate it. I'm not mad at it. I'm not oh, this ruined Black Hammer for me. It's not. It's fine, but I didn't like the art that much, and when it went full meta, I was kind of
Fair enough. I was really into it personally. I thought it was a really fun little side story.
I think these 2 issues go down as my least favourite 2 issues of the whole Black Hammer run.
Including the minis.
Including everything.
Fair enough.
Easily the weakest 2 for me. Because they also felt... I mean, maybe it'll become more relevant later, because he's in this weird place, this nowhere, and the anti-god shows up. It's like, oh, we brought him here, so we have to try and get out, and they try their one attempt to get out, and so it may become more relevant later, but right now it feels very kind of standalone and
it does
separate.
It definitely does. But I was really into it. I think this is a taste thing. I think you're fine to. I don't think you have to worry about this being a recurring thing all the time. I think this is okay. Maybe every so often we'll deal with this element of this. We'll get this meta and deal with that. But I don't think it'll be a regular thing.
Yeah, no, I'm again. I didn't hate it, but it was just kind of this is easily the least thing I've enjoyed of Black Hammer, just because. Because we meet all these new characters, and like I say, Inspector and Sector's really cool, but the rest of them I didn't really care about. And
you don't care about the pets.
Well, they're okay, but even that felt a little bit on the nose too. Because obviously a lot of the characters in Black Hammer are on the nose, and this is clearly the Thor character, this is clearly this character, blah. This is Martian Manhunter, blah blah blah. The pets, there was a line about all these pets would have been in a special or annual at some point. I'm like, that was a Super Sons annual 2 years ago.
Yeah, I loved that. That cracked me up that a lot. See, I'm a big fan of these meta things when they go down that route.
I think my problem is that up until now, this even though everything's been based on things, there's not been a meta element to it.
No, there hasn't. I think if this had been every character experiencing this, I'd have a lot more problems with it. But with it just being weird, just off on his own, doing his own thing, I'm a lot more into it.
That's fair. So I wasn't super hot on those 2. Cthulhu, I thought was a fun little one shot.
Yeah, it was nice. So it's one of the most inconsequential parts of the whole Black Hammer mythos.
It probably ranks not far behind the other 2 in terms of the low end of the scale. But only not because it was bad or I didn't like it or didn't like the art or didn't like what it was doing. It was just because this is very clear, just a little story about her. I don't think it's ever going to be that relevant again because she has a happy ending. It ends.
Yeah, she goes to the Cthulhu world.
Because she goes to Cthulhu in the sewers after being tormented by her parents, her fellow school kids, and she asked to become normal. And of course, you're reading that as Cthulhu's going to make her human if she sacrifices.
And Cthulhu's like, hey, you got to go kill some dudes for me.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that is the dark part. She does actually bring him sacrifices.
She murders the whole school.
Yeah, so there's a dark element to this. But she, instead of becoming human, she gets teleported to the Cthulhu world where everyone looks like her, and she's happy.
There's a moment where as she's going, she feels like she's been betrayed and it's all been, a trick. And then it's like, no, I'm normal here, and she's genuinely happy about it.
Yeah, so
it's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice little one shot. I kind of get the feeling though this only existed because there was a big delay between 7 and 8.
See, that's the thing, because obviously this was solicited, because this came out the month after 7.
Yeah.
So, because 7 came out in November, and then Cthulhuese came out in December. So they must have known there was going to be a delay pretty early, when they were like, okay, we want something in that gap.
Yeah, but what I'm wondering is, was the gap meant to be as big as it was? I wonder if the gap was meant to be shorter. So
I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
So they naturally, said, oh, we'll put this one shot in here to kind of...
No, I think the gap was supposed to be shorter originally. Like, this was supposed to, instead of coming back at the end of February, I think this was supposed to come back
in January.
Mid-January originally.
Because this one shot was December.
Yeah, so instead of having a month off at all, it would be, okay, we'll have a month of a one-shot and then back into the book. Yeah.
But instead, it took like 2 or 3 months off, so
yeah,
here we are. But speaking of, let's get to the meat then, which is issue 8, the new issue. Jeff Lemire, of course, Dean Armstrong. So, obviously, like, we ended in such a big place, and we're going through the power zone, and we know Colonel Weird went someplace, so what happened to the rest of the characters? And we don't get to see where all of them are. Some of them are still a bit of a mystery, but we do have Lucy Weber.
Yeah.
And she doesn't seem to remember events as we know it. Because she knows her father, but her father was never Black Hammer. Her father was a cop, and he died when she was like 13. Which I notably, I'm going to assume is the same age she was when he disappeared.
I would have thought so.
Yeah,
sounds about right. But on like the second page, you get this point. She goes, "Okay, I feel like I'm forgetting something important." It's like, okay, so she's aware. Like, there's a niggling feeling in there, right? Okay, something's not right.
And she, we see Abraham working as a security guard, and he's kind of just tired and miserable. The other main character we get to see a lot of is Barbalian, who's still on Mars and is in a relationship with someone, and they're trying to escape. He's been ostracized, by the community for being gay, and they want to run off. Even though space travel's been banned on Mars, they're building a ship in secret to get to Earth.
Gonna go off to Earth and shapeshift and walk among us.
And how do we know it's better? Well, we don't, but it can be worse. So it was basically his argument.
Yeah.
So
can't blame.
Yeah, that's it. But the big thing that happens, so because most of the issue is just setting all this stuff up, and at the end of the issue, Lucy, who's working at a diner, gets a phone call, or it's a pizza place rather, and she gets a phone call, and this voice says, "Hey, I know about your father. Come meet me. I know your name." And of course she's like, "Nah, I'm not going to do that. That's creepy. Okay, public place, so I can't do that. My condition means I can't go out." And the big reveal is she eventually, in the middle of the night, says, "Screw it. I'm going to go. It's a seedy neighborhood." She's constantly in her narration saying, "This was a bad idea. I'm in a dangerous place. This was stupid." And then the reveal of it, because I assumed it was a character we're going to know, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's Talkie-Walkie, who's kind of beat up looking. Presumably because even though he was shot in a digital world, I presume that he was still injured from that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And he's like, okay, need to find the others before it's too late.
Yeah, so that's how the issue ends.
I think my only complaint is that this feels like the end of the all the Quantum Age issues.
Oh sure, yeah, it's like a character we know. That's fair. I think my weird structural complaint here, and this might not be a factor once Age of Doom's done, this feels like the start of a new part rather than halfway through.
If you actually look at the end of, I think it was Cthulhuese that had it. No, it must have been the end of issue 7. Let me get the exact phrasing up before I butcher this. It was like, next time reboot. Yeah, next, the fates of Gale, Abe, Lucy, and Barbalian revealed in the reboot. Now, so it very much feels like the start of something new.
Yeah, now I get that Age of Doom would have been really short otherwise, but because it depends how long this goes on, but this feels like something that'll last longer than just 4 or 5 issues.
It does. I feel like if we're going for a similar length as the first series, then I feel like we should have just called it at 7 issues, done it as a mini, and then this should have been a third mini.
Yeah.
If we're treating it as, no, this one's an ongoing now, like this is going to go 30, 40, 50 issues.
But just to
Fair
clarify
enough.
here, so we have at least 2 of our main characters who are on Earth, don't remember the past as it was, but they do seem to be back in Spiral City, and the events of the superheroes and the anti-god, all that stuff didn't happen. So, curious to see where this goes and why that is. Has reality been rewritten, or is it something more than that?
Yeah.
Or less than that, even.
We don't really see Gale, right?
No Gale, no Dragonfly, I don't think.
No. I mentioned Gale specifically just because that thing at the end of the last issue said, next see Gale, and just thought maybe that was someone I was missing, but no.
I didn't recall any Gale. That said, though, would Gale be alive? Or would she be?
I'm assuming she'd just be an old woman.
Yeah, she'd be an old woman. So maybe we just didn't.
So I was looking.
Her.
I was just skimming through then on the lookout for an old woman anywhere.
Yeah.
But I didn't spot her.
She'd be an old woman, yeah. So I'm curious to see where this goes. Nice to have the original artist back. Armstrong obviously feels like the true Black Hammer artist. Because
in terms of the main series, definitely it's his creation as much as it is Lebe's.
So nice to have that back, and I'm very intrigued by what it's doing here. I don't suspect we'll go too long with them not knowing, but we're going to. The reason why I say this feels like it's going to be longer is not so much them not knowing; it's this new status quo.
How
in
to
this
fix
world.
it? How to get back to whatever it is? What's going on here?
And maybe the debate: is it better the way it is? Like, is it better that these things
leave it?
Never happened, and go from there. But yeah, so there was like some character stuff about her and her dad. Like he would have the weekends off and they'd pretend they were solving crimes like PIs together, that kind of thing. So some nice beats in there. So curious to see where this goes. What are you giving Black Hammer issue 8?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
I'll also give it an 8.
Yeah, it's good. And looking forward to the next mini starting next week, I think, with Black Hammer 45.
Black Hammer 45,
which will be the first one not written entirely by Lemire.
No, just co-written.
Yeah, which I suspect means he plotted it, and then I think it's Matt Kint who did the script, or is it Fawkes doing the script and Kint on art?
I don't know. I don't have it in front of me. I have no idea.
I don't either. I'm just trying to remember who was involved.
So that's Black Hammer, which will take us on to the hit comic book series Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is issue 2. Jordan Belair writing with Dan Mora on the art. So, I don't know, you had more complaints about issue 1 than I did. Did you like issue 2?
Yeah, it's alright. It's not like immediately grabbing me still.
I mean, I'm enjoying learning about the state of the world right now. We're still kind of learning because we see Cordelia for the first time, we see Joyce, I think, for the first time. I have one kind of weird criticism, is that I don't mind that there's 3 new love interests in the book. I think it's weird that all 3 of them get introduced in the same issue.
Yeah. I thought this opening was a little bit weird. This nightmare with the friendship between the 3 of them feeling like super important, and I'm like, they basically only just met.
That's true. Jails is all. I mean, the art's great in this.
Oh yeah, no, the art's great, but no problems. It felt weird to be it works to me based on, okay, I know what their relationship is, in the future, right? Because I've seen it all. But as where they are in this book, to have a nightmare about them.
Here's the thing, though. But part of the Slayer powers is that they do have some kind of premonition dreams sometimes. So it's not so much that she has a strong relationship with these characters. It's more a danger of what could come with these characters.
Okay.
This is mythology from the show. I'm not just pulling this out, man.
No, I get that. I'm specifically in the dialogue in his and being like, oh, you never even considered us real friends, and her obviously being like, oh no, it's not true, and it feels like it's making them too important to her too quickly to have even that dream there. I don't know. It felt weird to me to start with this. It's probably my biggest complaint in the issue.
Again, I feel like it's more of a precondition thing, so it's more like this will be how it is come the time, as opposed to what it is like
enough.
Now. But yeah, so as this nightmare wakes up, it's the whole thing. Art scores during those pages. So we meet Joyce has got a boyfriend who is living at the house They're
Has
living
been
together.
for a month. Yeah.
This Eric fellow. So he is completely new as far. I can't think of an Eric from the show. Whereas Buffy's love interest later actually is from the show. But so yeah, interesting. It's an interesting
It's different.
twist in things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives Buffy a chance to be kind of a bratty teenager because she's kind of pissed that she does this boyfriend living in the house.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different in that sense. Shakes things up. But no. Buffy and Willow, like, you know, in the library, Giles, like, going through what, because they're looking for with this silver amulet that, you know, she saw last issue. Just this shield, and you know, I enjoyed her, like, say, oh, it's like a deflector shield, and Giles doesn't know what that means. And it's like, oh, there's no way you're gonna make me feel like a nerd, because I know what a deflector shield is. Like, but that felt like classic kind of Buffy Giles, so I was kind of into that.
And then in walks Cordelia.
And walks Cordelia, who is a little bit different, at least so far. I am tempted to speculate though that she's been extra nice because she's in political campaign mode, because she's running for.
Yes, I'm suspicious of her, and I don't know if that's just because it's Cordelia or because of anything that's actually presented here.
I mean, to its credit, I can hear like Charisma Carpenter's voice saying these lines, and it's still working. It's just a case of, like, is there the darker side of Cordelia? Well, I said the darker's not the right word. The bitchy materialistic side, we'll say.
Yes, the teenage side.
The teenage side. But you know, because I think the small moments that I think Belair's really nailing in the writing is the, you know, the end of this when she's walking out and, you know, Buffy's like, just shut up. I didn't say anything good. You know, like.
Yeah, that stuff sucks.
Little exchanges like that are kind of working in terms of these things. And then out in the corridor, Cordelia runs into Willow and Rose. Turns out Willow's got a girlfriend. This Rose character.
Yep.
So here's the thing. All these new love interests, I can't help but feel that these are all fair game to be killed. Not necessarily that quickly. They could be around for a while, but I feel like the seed here is that we can kill Willow's girl, because we're not going to kill Willow or Xander or Giles or Cordelia, right? We're keeping them around for at least a long, long, long time because of the main characters.
It'd be a ballsy move not to, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'd kind of respect that.
I'm kind of looking at Rose here and going, this is basically Jessie. It's just that in this version of the story, Jessie's Willow's girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting that vibe. I mean, Buffy's, Joyce's boyfriend, maybe a little bit different, but again, he's fair game to kill.
He is, yeah.
He's also fair game to turn out to be secretly someone else or someone. It could be anything. Like, they can do whatever they want with him.
Yeah, make him a vampire.
Maybe in that sense, it makes sense to have, like, I mean, again, Robin later on is not exactly new, but he's new in this way, in a big way. But maybe that's the genius of introducing multiples, is that, okay, they'll do it with one of them.
We're not going to kill all of them.
Yeah. So which one's going to be the death or the...
I think, though, you can still have that effect if introducing them, you know, every one over each over 3 or 4 issues, right? Rather than, okay, let's get them all in this issue 2 so we can kill one of them in issue 3.
Sure, yeah, if it's that quick. I'm assuming they're going to be around for an arc at least, but...
No, I am too, but I'm just saying... that's my point, is I'm assuming they're going to be here for now, so you've got time to introduce them. Yeah,
so Willow is really happy with the girlfriend, and we get kind of Xander's narration again coming through.
Man, he's depressing.
He's very depressed. Joe is funny. I'm kind of getting this vibe from Xander that Belair wants to kind of tackle some of the issues that people have with Xander, but at the same time, he also seems to be kind of filling in some of that Willow role, where he's kind of insecure in a way that Willow was in the show.
Yeah.
And he's seeing Willow be happy. He's seeing Buffy be happy. He even seems to have a crush on Willow almost. Which kind of reverts the roles of the show a little bit, because obviously Willow had a crush on him.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, it didn't go both ways, and clearly it doesn't here because of Willow's sexuality. But, yeah, you know, I enjoyed the dig of Buffy running track and not being tired and like pretending, like, oh yes, yes, I'm so tired. This is so much effort.
Yeah.
So. Do you know what? There was a panel in the last issue where it, like, the art was pretty good throughout, but there was one panel in particular where Buffy's expression looked so much like the actress, looked so much like Ella. This issue again has just that one panel that just nails it.
Is it where she sits down on this next page?
She's on the bench and she looks over at Robin.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, that just captures her so well.
The close-up panel, right?
The close-up panel.
Yeah.
And, you know, he kind of scooches over. So Robin, if you know who Robin is, Robin's actually the principal from season 7 of Buffy, who I mean, obviously they're changing a bunch of things. This was weird to me at first, though, because I'm like, yeah, but he is older. Like, he shouldn't be. But I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, they're the same age now. That's fine. But yeah, so he's hitting it off with her. So we get the first scene of Spike. Cordelia ends up getting in the woods. Very
lot of introductions this episode, this issue.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there was last issue as well. I just didn't feel like it because everyone was an introduction by default.
Yeah, but again, expected in issue 1, right? I feel like once you get your first issue to get as many as you can in, and then after that, you kind of have to spread them out a little bit. Because it feels like, okay, this is an overload in issue 2.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe there was some choices here. I mean, I'm assuming issue 3 can't be as packed with introductions.
It can't be. It just can't.
But yeah, so Spike has this creepy scene in the woods with Cordelia. He doesn't attack her. He just asks her some questions. He cracks some jokes that are kind of dark, and I'm here to just lure innocent girls into the woods, that kind of thing. It definitely feels like season 2 Spike. It feels like early evil Spike as opposed to later jokey Spike.
Which is interesting, given that a lot of the characters are a lot further in their journey. Where we start in here.
But Spike and Drusilla's a bit full in the sense she's not needing cured, but Spike and Drusilla are full on evil. It's an interesting mix of things that are going on here. But speaking of Drusilla, she's actually torturing Anya, looking for this thingamajig, and basically, I like that they bring up that Anya, like, her demon kind, really cares about possessions. If you remember in the show, she was always obsessed with the money they were making at the magic box because she really cares about that stuff. But she ends up kind of tricking Drusilla into smashing this vase that has a vampire destroyer giant bat thing in it.
Bat demon thing.
Yes. I will say
that's kind of cool.
That line of dialogue at the end of that, where it's the close up on Annie at the bottom of the page, where she says, "I bet you feel really dumb now, huh?" That was like, okay, I hear the voice. I hear Anya's voice in that line,
and I feel like this should have been the final page.
That's fair. That's
where you end your issue on that. Like, there's just one more page, because I turned it expecting to go into back matter. I thought it was over, and I was like, oh, there's another page. And it's a fine page.
Yeah, the page is fine. It just needs to be before that scene.
Yeah,
just put it before that Drusilla scene.
Just a little structural thing, Instead of going from Spike into the Anya scene, just put this in the middle.
Yeah, so it's Xander texting the guys. They were meant to hang out, and they've basically responded to him. Buffy's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm looking for this amulet." Giles is looking at jewelers and stuff. And sorry, Rose had a bad day, so I've been with her. And we see that he types out, "Hey, we had plans, and I had a bad day too, but no one gives a shit." And then he deletes all of it. And he's like, "Yeah, kill guys." So he's really insecure right now, and he's.
I will say this text that he writes out is one of the few times where I'm like, no, that voice doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound Xander.
I can't picture him saying that at all. I think it's the actual phrasing, not the the point of it. I can see him feeling this. Don't get me wrong, but just the way it's phrased.
Yeah, Joe, I'm going to rewrite it for you. I'm going to write it in Xander speak, and some of it's really simple. So this is what the exact thing says. "Not really cool, guys. We had plans, and you're bailing on me. I had a bad day too. Really feels like you don't give a shit." And that's kind of where he stops typing. Right. First line, all I would do is take out the word "really." Not cool, guys. Picture Xander saying that.
Yep,
right.
That's better.
We had plans, and you're bailing on me. No. We had plans, and you bailed. Xander.
Yeah. No, I can picture it.
Yeah, I had a bad day too. Just take away the really.
Yeah, I wouldn't have the I was just thinking that.
All I'm really doing is eliminating a couple of words here. It's just a little bit overwritten, I guess.
Yeah, because no, you're right. Because when you put it in, take out those little bits here or there, I can get it. And like I said, the point of it is I can definitely understand, and I can agree with, and it didn't flow. It didn't feel like something I could hear him saying.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that definitely came up as the show went on, is the idea that he's not special. It's kind of weird now because, I mean, I get that he sees Willow as this confident person, so it's more of typical high school thing where she seems special, as opposed to in the show where by the time he felt like this, it was because she was a witch and Oz was a werewolf and Buffy was a slayer.
It feels weird given this has only just started, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the implication is that they already felt this way with Willow, right? Because Willow's relationship, it felt like he was losing his friend, and then he thought, oh, you got Buffy now, but now Buffy's also busy with slayering.
Again, and this goes back to how I felt at the start of the issue, you know, with the nightmare. This here of like, you've known this Buffy girl for like a week. Yeah, she doesn't want to hang out with you tonight. She's busy. Like, I don't know. Feels like you get a big deal out of it.
Teenage hormones, man.
Yeah, fine.
Teenagers do not make sense all the time. It's funny, the thing I noticed is that the text like group thread is called Scooby Gang, and I thought that was the one thing I went, maybe it's a bit early for that. I don't know if they've earned the Scooby Gang name yet.
No, they haven't.
They've not worked a case together yet, really. So that's a nitpick, but I mean, no, I still dug the issue. I'm you know, I think one of the things that I'm really liking about it is that I think everything with Buffy and her slaying and with Giles all feels kind of pitch perfect.
That's the best stuff in the issue, and I want to like this more than I do. Like, you know, I'm liking what it's doing in theory. There's just a couple of things where I'm like, this just doesn't quite feel right. Structurally is a bit off, maybe. Art's real nice though, and I think
good.
Voices for the most part, especially the Buffy Giles stuff. That stuff's fantastically done.
That's good. I am kind of enjoying discovering these new versions of the other characters though. Like it's one of these weird things. We're just going into this knowing, okay, this is just not. It's not Buffy, you know. This is a complete like I've said this before, but it's the Ultimate Universe Buffy. You know, it's Ultimate Spider-Man to Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah. And it's just this alternate version, and you know, at least so far, it's not done anything where I'm like, this betrays the essence of, you know, this character. I mean, it's weird that Willow is this confident version versus, you know, Willow at this point in the show was, but
that's the thing. It's very much swapped her and Xander's roles because, you know, the start of the show, he's very confident and, you know, outgoing, and, you know, he feels on top of the world, or at least outwardly.
But much like, you know, we said with Willow in the first issue, that it makes sense that in 2019 that maybe someone like her is more confident in high school because we're a lot more, you know, open about these subjects and things like that. But maybe the alternative shoe for Xander, that maybe his like phony confidence, because it wasn't real confidence, not really, right? He was a goofball. But maybe like that whatever gave him the strength to be that phony, and maybe it's a good thing in the grand scheme of things, but for him specifically, is taking away his confidence that he can't. You know, basically what I'm straight is he's a straight white dude, and he doesn't feel like he's got the same. Not that he knows anything's missing, because it's just the world he's in now, but like I'm wondering if that's kind of what it's doing here with him. Is that it's like it's taking him and being like, yeah, like now, like obviously not everywhere, but like now Willow is kind of interesting in this setting because she is different, because she is this kind of punky girl with the girlfriend, and they have this strong relationship. Whereas Xander doesn't have that. He is kind of your typical teenage kid who doesn't have the relationship, and he is kind of feels lonely, and it feels like his friends are kind of abandoning him. Specifically Willow. Again, Buffy's kind of weird because he just met her. But if he's developing a crush on her, then, you know, that kind of gets in and makes it all heightened as well.
Yeah.
So
because there can't have been that much time passed between the two issues, right? No, obviously they're still just looking into the same thing.
Yeah, it's the next day, I think. I'm pretty sure it's the next day.
Yeah. Okay. Thought so.
But no, I'm into it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this. And obviously, a lot of people had complaints with Xander in the original show about how he never really got comeuppance for a lot of the bullshit that he pulled, because he is kind of an immature dick about a lot of things and does some nasty stuff in that show. And the weird thing is that most of it is stuff that's like, well, he's a teenage boy and it kind of makes sense for his character, and they're all flawed characters, but unlike every other character in the show, he never seems to get like told off for it. Not often, anyway. So I think this is trying to tackle some of that and like try to take his entitlement, because I think maybe like where we get to with this is that it's not so much that he's justified in his feelings, it's that sure he should talk to the people that he's feeling this way about, that he's feeling a bit left out and, you know, abandoned, but it's more that I think I can see it down a path where it's like you're being a little bit entitled here and you have to kind of, you know, deal with that.
I get that.
I can see it going that way.
Yeah. It almost comes off as a little whiny here, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's my point though. Is he's not just. It's not purely sympathetic. It's kind of like
no, it's not.
It's like you kind of.
It's frustrating though, because we're supposed to, I get what you're saying. It's like, oh, it's supposed to be he's kind of coming across whiny, but at the same time, he's kind of at the end of the issue here. He's in the right. They did just kind of bail on him for no reason.
Oh, no, I mean that's kind of what makes it interesting though, is that there's some truth to it. It's not like what he's like, because he's adding all this like teenage angst to it to make it all this heightened bullshit.
Yeah,
and that's not really there, but there is some truth to it, so that he does have a legitimate thing to complain about. And I could see some smart things happening with Xander potentially, depending on how they go with it. But it does make him not the fun character he was for a lot of the original show. At least, yeah. I mean, maybe that's something he'll sort of.
I do feel like that so
into.
far. I do feel we're missing that atmosphere, you know, of a character like that. Someone cracking the one-liners, like, you know, having those retorts. No, you know, we've taken it away from Xander, which is fun, but there's no one else filling that role at the minute. I do feel that is one of the most, you know, it's a key part of the show, especially early on.
Given that Xander's getting these narrations in each issue right now, I feel like he might have his like growth moment by the end of the arc.
Yeah.
Or well, if not, I mean, it's only a 4-issue arc, I think, so maybe not this arc. But,
okay.
You know, soonish, because it seems to be a focus right now. You know, I can see him blowing up in like issue 4 or 5, and like, you know, confronting them about his feelings.
Yeah. No, I can see it.
We'll see how that goes. But yeah, what are you giving issue 2?
I give it a 7.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm still really digging it. I like the art a lot, and I'm excited to read this. I'm actually really excited to read this every month. So, yeah, I'm very intrigued by all the new characters and see what they do with them, and how it's playing with the established characters. But I think what's interesting is at its core, Buffy is the one who feels like she's really nailed Buffy, right? And maybe that's the idea here, is that you really nail the central character. And
then you have leniency to change everyone else.
Yeah, you can play around with everyone else a little bit. I think Giles is pretty much like bang on as well. But I think that's why those are the two that are like the most comfortable right now, because it just feels like we're coming home to them. Whereas the others, like, okay, we're doing wacky new things. We have to kind of learn to get used to these new versions of them and sort of establish who they are, which was no small feat. So I don't envy Belair for having to kind of rewrite Buffy, but go for it.
Yeah, it's a big ask.
So that'll take us out to the final book of the week, though. That is Firefly issue 4. To go back to another Joss Whedon property. End of the last issue, the Unificator, the head Unificator, made a deal with Mal and Zoe to help rush back and save the rest of the crew in exchange for them turning themselves in, because the weird religious cult dudes decided they were going to sacrifice all of the crew, including Wash, Anara, Book, and Jane. And actually, probably one of my favourite scenes in this issue is they're arguing over who they're going to sacrifice first, right? And they basically say, oh, but we're going to do it in this order. We're going to go with the women, so they mean Anara, and we don't know who the order in the middle to, but Jane's going to be last for sure. And, you know, Anara asks, why am I first? Like, what's the order here? And it's like, well, the order or God, we go from the order of the most righteous to the most sinful, right? And she's like, but hey, like, I'm a different religion, and also, like, I'm a companion, like, you know, surely I've broken a lot of sex laws, and it kind of sounds like she's trying to talk out of her getting killed first, but really what she's doing, she's buying time, because at this point, because Wash has got an earpiece, he's in communication with Mal, and they know they're on their way, right? They know they just have to buy time, and they're going to get killed at sunset, so he's buying time, and then, like, you know, Wash starts talking, and what, you know, and Book's like, yeah, maybe I should go first because I'm like a different religion, but I'm also a holy man, so maybe I should go first because I'm the most righteous. And then Jane says, you're always hinting at this dark past, Book. Like, how many people did you kill during the war? And then, like, all three of the others all start talking about how Jane's actually the most righteous one, because yeah, sure, he's killed people, but to you that's not a big deal because you were happy when we killed those other bandits. So they basically start talking them into killing Jane first, and Jane is just like, really, guys? But it's a really funny scene because they all just turn on Jane.
Sounds about right.
But what was good about it, though, is that it really felt like a scene from the show, in the sense that all the characters, the bouncing around, and then it turning on Jane, is the butt of the joke, really made it all work.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So that was gold. So they get shot, like Mal and Zoe and the Unificator get shot down in the way by the other pirate dude who was upset that he showed the Unificators where they were, and then they kind of just left them and didn't pay him or anything like that. So he shoots down the ship. They have to deal with him, and there's actually kind of like some camaraderie where Mal and that have to work side by side, the Unificators, and it gives them some more war flashbacks, but like it's kind of a nice sort of moment for them fighting together. What is nice actually is that early on when they're in a bit of a standoff with the Unificators, because even though they've made a deal with the lead one, when they get back to the ship, the other Unificators just jump out and they're like, "Oh, they're here, open fire," and they don't actually follow the leader's orders. They just want to kill them. And actually, River jumps out and saves the day because they've got River and Simon kind of captured from last issue, and River goes River on them. And wins, and they're all kind of scared of her now. And it's actually Kaylee who comes out and kind of talks sense to them and says, "Hey, everyone's okay. Everyone's proven they're a badass. Everyone's been holding up the guns. How about we stop this?" So everyone gets a moment in this issue, which is kind of nice. So the Unificators are basically, yeah, you're going to turn in the criminals because we agree to save your other friends, but these two are wanted fugitives. But they're not going to actually do it, or at least, you know, Simon doesn't believe they're going to do it for obvious reasons. But yeah, so of course they show up in the nick of time, and all the fighting goes on towards the end, and stops people from getting sacrificed. And basically, you know, the Unificator's got Mal gun to his head, like, "No, you're coming with me. You're under arrest." Blah 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 blah. And you know, they're all holding their guns up and they're going to fight her back, but in the heat of the moment, she grabs Mal, throws him on the small shuttle, and they take off right there and then. So the end of the issue is her flying off with Mal captive. And it's a really funny moment, actually, because Mal says, when they have the upper hand and they think they've won for a moment, Mal says, "Oh, I mean, the deal was trash, but she did keep her side of it, so we're not going to kill her, even though like Zoe wants to," and she says, "You'll regret this." And Mal's like, "Maybe I will," and that's when the Unificator grabs him and throws him in the shuttle. And the final panel of the book is Mal with his face squashed up against the glass at the window, saying, "Okay, I definitely regret it." And I can hear Nathan Fillion saying that. I can hear his voice.
Yeah.
It is a Malcolm Reynolds moment. It's one of those goofier Malcolm Reynolds moments, but it works. So that was the end of the issue. So now all the characters got at least one good moment in this one, and the general plot's been really solid. So that was issue 4. What's weird is that I think Boom split all their trades into 4-issue blocks, and it doesn't feel like the end of a trade though. But I mean, I guess it kind of works.
Are they strictly 4 issues, or are they lenient?
I think they changed with Turtles. I think TMNT after issue like 50 started to 5 issues per trade, but every single one before that was 4 per trade. Every single one. Power Rangers are all 4 per trade, except from the first one because it has a 0 issue as well. But
yeah, I get it. I wonder.
Yeah, and that's pretty good. Dan McDade's been very consistent. It's not the best art in the world, but it is kind of fitting for the characters. You can tell who's who. The color palette, of course, is a lot of browns and stuff like that because, you know, those brown coats.
Yeah.
But no, I'm enjoying Firefly. It's, I mean, Greg Pak's the one, right? I don't think I told you who was writing and doing the art at the start, actually. But
I don't think you did. No.
But Greg Pak is a very good writer, and he's really nailing the voices. So no, if you're a fan of reading his TV shows, you got a couple of good comics to read right now.
Yeah.
So
I'm just trying to check I'm checking the Amazon listing, see if it tells me how many issues are in it. Annoyingly, it doesn't say what it contains. Page count 144 though, so
depends on the back matter.
Yeah.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit more. Who knows? Maybe they'll break the trend. But no, I'll give this a solid 8.5. I dug it a lot. So no.
Cool.
But a very consistent book. But that does take us on to the final part of the show. We pick our favourites of the week. We pick our favourite panel/moment, our favourite art of the week, our favourite cover of the week, and our top 5 books of the week. Now, we're not going to do this individually for 2 different weeks. This is just going to be the week for us and what we put on the show. So, got a lot to pick from.
Yep. A lot of competition.
Yeah, what's your panel / moment?
It's that one in you shouldn't have asked me first. You should have just said yours.
You could tell what I was going to say. You could tell I was going to say the same thing, so it doesn't matter. They know I wasn't copying.
Oh, fine. Yeah, no. Daredevil, him sitting there.
Yes, listening for Kingpin's lie, and it's just not coming. So next up, best cover of the week.
Captain America.
Okay, you're picking an Alex Ross cover.
I like his cover work a lot. I don't enjoy his interiors though. I think I've been over this. I don't think his interiors have flow for me, but I really like his covers.
That's fair. I'm just checking all the other books, making sure. I think the only argument against that one for another pick would maybe be the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man issue 3 cover.
Let me go and have a look.
He's coming out of a pit of lava.
There's something off about the head shape for me. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pick Cap as well because Alex Ross, but
yeah,
I'm going to give that a close second. All right, best art of the week.
Daredevil.
Best art of the week.
Yeah, Daredevil.
Oh, maybe you cut out for a second. I didn't hear that. I just heard an eh. Daredevil's very good. I can't argue with Daredevil. I'm just looking down the list to see. I liked Mora on Buffy. I liked Ormstrom on Black Hammer. I liked Liam on West Coast Avengers.
Oh man, we never talked about that in the news.
What?
Because it was last week.
Yeah, what?
Damn it. Mora's obviously coming off of Buffy because he's going on to Gillen's new book.
Yes, that's betrayal.
Yeah, and I remember, the only reason I remember is because I was good. Can't pick him on that forever because he's covered off it. And then I went, hang on, we never spoke about that. God damn it!
It's your fault for going on vacation.
We'll do it next week. We'll talk about it next week.
No, we won't. Daredevil. I wanted to pick another one, but I couldn't objectively do it. All right, top 5 books, go.
Right, okay. Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
West Coast Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
Venom. Black Hammer, whatever the last issue Age of Doom was. 8.
Yes.
8, that one.
I'll also put Daredevil at number 1. West Coast Avengers at number 2. Buffy at number 3. Captain America at number 4. And Firefly at number 5. Yeah, I'm going with that. And shout out to Miles and Friendly Neighborhood.
Look, you don't get shout outs. I know it's a big week, but come on.
And Black Hammer for just missing the cut. That still leaves like half the books though.
I know.
Alright, there we go. We've made it to the end of this episode. So thank you very much guys for joining us. I'll tell you what's coming next week. I hadn't forgotten. I know Carl was about to accuse me of that, but
I wasn't.
I hadn't. So are you serious? Come on, Marvel. Next week's so big. Coming next week. Amazing Spider-Man issue 16.HU. Yes. Avengers 16, Immortal Hulk 14, X-2310, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 4, Uncanny X-Men 13, Wolverine the Last Night number 3. Well, we'll not be doing No Road Home, so I can take that out of the list at least. Are you been reading Doctor Strange?
No.
Well, that can go then. I don't know why that's in the list. Domino Hotshots number 1. You'll be doing that because you read the other Gilson 1 series. Star Wars 62. Mr. and Mrs. X number 9, Conan the Barbarian number 4, Champions issue 3, Star Wars Padme issue, that's probably the Age of Republic ones, isn't it? Black Hammer 45 issue 1, and Die issue 4.
Just a couple of extra things on top of that.
I'll go.
Because there is more.
Yes.
That saying, I'm not seeing X. Did you say X-23 was in there?
May get pushed. Marvel books slightly get pushed all the time.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I couldn't remember if it was in there. Yeah. So that's gone. Although I'm seeing Killmonger issue 5. Also, the new Star Wars Darth Vader mini is starting next week.
Oh, great! 2 Star Wars books next week. That's exciting.
3 Star Wars books next week.
Oh, I hate it.
I think.
I hate it with a fiery passion.
Yeah. 3 Star Wars books next week.
Yeah.
Do we have Uncanny? Yeah, no, that's fine. And then I mean, it's a busy week, so I might not get around to it. I'm hoping to try a new book from, I think it was Boom that's putting it out. It's called Ronin Island. It's from Greg Pak.
I do like Greg Pak.
Yeah, basically a samurai thing, but with some sort of supernatural elements thrown in.
Yes. Week after that is a bit of a quieter week, which is nice because me and Connor have Patreon picks to do this month on this show, so that'll probably be the week after.
Yeah.
So look forward to that. But here we go. So that has been episode 8.
Oh, you tell me.
Episode 8 or 9 of Elsewhere.
9.
9, okay, cool. Episode 9 of Elsewhere. If you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here and keep the podcast coming and ensure we can actually, afford all these bloody books.
Admittedly, after this shambles, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to.
You can head over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and you can support us over there for as little as $1 per month. You get some stuff early, you get some bonuses, exclusives, all that kind of thing. Obviously, check out our DC Comics podcast. It's me and Connor plus Matt. We do it every week as well, just like this one, but we talk just about DC Comics. So you can check out that. It's called Comics from the Multiverse. There's both the audio feed and, of course, it's on the YouTube MailFuzz TV channel, should you wish to get it there. Get us on the Twitters, @mail_fuzz or @DC Comics Podcast, specifically for comic book things. Is there anything else I want to promote and tell you about? Captain Marvel's out soon. It's out this week. So myself and Matt, at the very least, maybe myself, Matt, and Tim will be doing a review of that at the weekend. Should be up late Sunday, early Monday, give or take. So I look forward to that too. So
cool.
That's on the YouTube page, of course, easy to find, or it'll be on the MailFuzz Movies audio feed, which is all the movie reviews that we do as a podcast. So thank you very much.
You're not doubling that onto this feed. I know with like the DC movie reviews, that gets put onto the DC Comics audio feed.
I hadn't really thought about it, but yeah, I might do. I might double it onto the audio feed for this since it's relevant.
Yeah.
But yeah. But that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep reading comic books. Keep reading Marvel comic books. But remember that assembly is required.